Hey, Bobcat Nation, welcome back to the Region 20 Bobcast, where we get up close and personal with our school leaders inside and out of the classroom. Today we've got a fantastic episode planned. We're going behind the scenes with Casey Manzolino and Tom DiMarco to learn how the ASTE program works, and we're going to talk about FFA and all the great things that we have going on here in our school at the moment when it comes to ag science. We have such a great ag science program here. I'm so excited to show our community what we have and for you guys to give us a back door inside, behind the scenes kind of look at what's going on here.
Yeah.
Because really, this is why we're doing this podcast, right? It's to make sure that the community knows what we're all involved with. And we've got our trusty little sidekick Archie here today too. So this is like my favorite day. So let's kind of figure out what we're going to go look at. Casey and Tom are going to walk us through and give us just an update and maybe some background and information and education today on what it takes to be part of the ag science program, and also how to be an awesome FFA chapter, because we're like amazing. We're amazing, right? We win awards and stuff. Yeah. So let's go. Okay, so today we have Casey Manzolino, and she has been with the ag program here at WAMOGO Lakeview High School for the last 12 years. And over those 12 years have worn a gazillion and 5 hats, probably more than you care to count, right? Currently you teach vet science and FFA and leadership, and she is the lead FFA advisor, and of course she's the director of the agri-science program here at WAMOGO. And then we have Tom DiMarco, and he's been teaching ag science for 12 years. This is his first year at Lakeview High School, so welcome to your inaugural year. I'm sure it has been nothing short of a roller coaster.
Thank you.
Tom teaches food science and ag mechanics, and he has a background in horticulture. So we're in the food science room.
So this is our food lab.
Got it.
This is where we teach our freshman, sophomore, and junior, senior food science classes. So we talk everything about food safety, how to handle food properly and prevent contamination and foodborne illnesses. Then we do a little bit of food prep and preservation. We also talk a lot about like the whole farm to table, where your food's coming from, the supply chain of food, and how we use it. One thing I always like to say with food science, and separate it from kind of culinary, is you have your producer, your farmer who's growing the product. You have your food scientist who's taking that product. So if we look at dairy, for example, your dairy farmer's producing the milk, then it goes to a food scientist that will make it into cheese, and then it goes to someone who's going to cook it, make pizza with it. And that's kind of your different steps to separate, food science from culinary.
That's amazing. And like I know, so I have a child who went to WAMOGO and graduated from here. He was not part of the ag program, but several of our friends have done it. And these kids love these programs, right? And I think that the engagement and the hands-on and just being able to like have these conversations with people that are outside, and you can bring them in, right? And you can have these kind of, I don't even know what the best way to say that is, like, collaborative conversations and education in not just the food service industry, right? In all of them. So like we make our own honey here, for example. Like there's so many great things that the community doesn't even know, that you can come to Lakeview and buy honey. Did you even know that?
And actually one of the cool things, our natural resource class is the one that does the honey and does maple syrup. And we took some of that maple syrup this year and we made maple candy. And to take those next steps. And I'm talking about how it ties in with the community and members of the community being interested in this is one unique thing about being ag teachers is we all have our bus license and we can take students on in-class field trips. I take my students down to Stop and Shop all the time, and right now we're in our meats unit and we're talking about different cuts of meat and stuff, and the kids were like, oh, I don't want to be in the people's way as we're grocery shopping. And just the other day, this gentleman, I was like, oh, sorry, here, come grab what you need. He goes, no, I like listening about what you're teaching the kids about the meat.
That's so great.
And even if they don't go into that as a career, they're learning skills that they're going to be able to use in their life forever.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much.
And we do have over 10, I don't know how many off the top of my head, elective classes that are open to non-ag students.
Yes.
So a ton of students who are not enrolled in the agri-science program make their way down here for a class or two. Our canine grooming and kennel management class is super popular because who doesn't want to learn about dogs,
play with the puppies.
So we kind of collaborate with those efforts too. it's been really awesome to see this merger come through with just the amount of kids walking down the hallway that we would have never seen before.
Yeah.
You know, getting this glimpse into the ag program and what it is and what it means versus what they kind of thought it was. So tons of kids are coming and having fun down here now.
So let me ask about that, because, you know, there was, you know, wonderment about what the activity was going to be. So you've seen an increase in activity just across the board. That's so great.
Yep.
That's so great.
Yep. Our elective classes are pretty much all full.
Bursting.
And there's a lot of students not enrolled in ag in those classes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love to hear this stuff. You guys, I'm such a geek. Okay, let's move on to the next place.
Cool.
See? Easy peasy.
It's good. So fine. You did great, buddies.
So good.
Archie,
Come on, Arch. Okay, so now we are in the biotechnology classroom, and this is for...
So this is the science behind everything agriculture. So this class will collaborate with all of the other classes to determine, for example, in veterinary science, like how were vaccines created? How can we work to develop things for our animals, to treat our animals? How can we make biodiesel in ag mechanics? You know, how do we implement science into the other ag aspects? To learn really that nitty-gritty stuff behind it. You know, genetically modified organisms, they learn about DNA.
Yep.
All the things that are now helping us feed the world, right, with less and less resources and more people. So they're the science behind everything that we do. Tons of microscopes, DNA stuff.
Yeah.
They were just learning how to make biodiesel. I just walked in on them doing a vaccine unit the other day. They do a reproductive technologies unit as well, so they'll focus on artificial insemination. You know, so it's all really the science and technology behind all the ag program stuff that we do.
You see, Bobcat Nation, did you even know that this was a thing and that we're teaching our kids this? This is like, so I want to go back to school in real life. Like my older one is at UConn, and every time I go to visit, I'm like, how do I get to go back to college? But also I want to go back to school here because there's so many cool things going on. Let's hit the next place. So while we're walking to the next place, I want to know how you keep students engaged in topics that might seem kind of, you know, technical or unfamiliar, especially, you know, as we were talking about, you know, the kids who aren't familiar with the ag program, and how you keep them engaged and how you know, want them to learn and understand about what's going on here.
Great question. We have a lot of students come in with totally different skill sets. Some students grew up on farms. Some students grew up in an apartment building.
Sure.
So the really awesome thing about our program is that they rotate through all of the areas freshman year. It's very exploratory. It's very introductory. They get to know all the teachers. They get to know all the content areas. They figure out what they really like to do. And everything kind of starts at a very basic level. We're all very good at utilizing students who do know some things coming in to help the others who don't.
That's great.
So it's a really collaborative effort in terms of that. Actually, one of the parts of the FFA motto is learning to do, doing to learn. So stemming off of that, Tom and I kind of just talked about this a little bit. We'll always kind of lead with the content first. Let's understand the content. Let's understand what we're going to do and why we do it before we move into the lab to practice. So, you know, let's learn how to take vital signs on an animal, what the average ranges should be on the animal. Then we will move into the lab. And I will model, you know, how to take said vital signs the kids can practice. So it's a very, like, building on skills throughout the 4 years, because we teach them for all 4 years.
And I think also with that, all of our students have their SAE supervised agricultural experience. Where it's their outside of class learning and kind of like their internship that they have to do. And they're taking things that they learned in the classroom and applying it in a real world setting. And then vice versa, they're taking things that they learned in that setting back to the classroom. Because maybe, you know, if we're in a large animal class and we don't have dairy cows here, but there's a student working at a dairy farm, they can apply the knowledge they learned at that job site to the classroom.
That's awesome.
So, yep.
Loved it.
Yeah, a lot goes on in here.
Yeah.
We fit a lot in.
Bobcat Nation, check this out. For those of you who don't know, look at what we have here. We rebuild all kinds of really great mechanical vehicles, right? Isn't there like a Friday night thing that goes on here?
So every Friday night, well, first off, this is our shop. This
Welcome to the shop.
Ag mechanic shop. Every Friday night, we have what's called tractor restoration, where a group of mentors that have been doing this for a whole bunch of years, they come and they work with our students to rebuild tractors. So you can see some of those tractors that we have here right now. And they the goal is to, and they do it every year, is to rebuild a full tractor in that year's time. And then at the Goshen Fair every year, it gets auctioned off, or not auctioned, raffled off.
Yes.
And the proceeds then come back
to
to
us.
to the program.
That's so great.
So the way they do it, and like the little secret, you know, but revealing behind the curtain, is they're actually working on multiple tractors at once.
Sure.
So there is always ready every year, but it's not like they finish it start to finish.
Sure.
Within
Sure.
one year. Again, that's our tractor restoration, happens every Friday night.
Yep. Tell us about school.
And then in the classroom, so our mechanics class does a wide range of things from construction, woodworking, electrical, plumbing, and I can't think of the word right now.
Welding.
Welding.
Small engines.
Small engines.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
small engine repair.
And mechanical work.
Right.
So it's a great hands-on environment for our students. We do stuff both in the shop, outside, equipment operation, using the tractors that we have. All of our freshmen go through learning how to drive tractors.
They all earn their tractor driving license as a
Yep,
freshman.
they get a tractor.
Amazing.
They get a physical little license, so
I love
it's a
it.
lot of fun. Yeah.
That's so great. Awesome. Let's keep going. You guys, we are in my official favorite room in the entire school, because look who's here. We got the goats. We got the horses. Everyone's here. This is the best. And I want you guys to just tell the people in the community what we have here in terms of small animal. I know you teach veterinary science. So there's so much really fun stuff happening entire school, because Bella's got a lot to say back there. That I think the community really, like, look how great this is, you guys. So tell us all about this particular room in the school.
So what you don't see in this room is our herd of Hereford beef cow. So we do raise a herd of cattle that some students use for showing at the fairs, and then we do some of them off. We get them off.
Sure.
Some of them off, and some of them the kids use to train in fairs. And then just overall with those guys, with the boar goats, the Nigerians, the sheep, the horses, all of the students are hands-on managing these animals. So they learn about the production records. We breed almost everything here. So they learn how to take care of the babies. They learn how to take care of mom after she's given birth. All of the vaccine schedules and everything that go into the management of the animals, even down to just trimming their hooves on a regular basis. So in the barn, that's definitely what they're doing, all hands-on. And then they just learn the science behind animals, right? And their nutrition needs and their behavior and how to read their behavior and how to work around them safely. So a lot of good stuff is always happening in the barn. We get a lot of visitors. This is everybody's favorite spot. So
even on the weekends, who manages these animals?
Yep. So we do have an SAE supervisor / farm manager who manages everything on the weekends and holidays and things because it's a lot, right?
Yep.
We have a full working farm in addition to our teaching schedules. So we do have somebody who helps. We have student feeders who will come on the weekends and feed as well with that person. So that's an SAE opportunity, like Tom was talking about before, that supervised ag experience project. So students can come on the weekends and during the breaks, and they really learn what it's like to be responsible for these animals. So it's that really hands-on. Employment skills are there, right? Everything is there.
And the cool thing this year, and Casey touched on this, is we actually had a baby cow born this year, and the kids get to experience that and work with them and see that.
Yeah. So let's move out of here, and I want to talk about the SAE. And one of the requirements for the ag students for graduation.
Yeah.
Great. So we have moved on from large animals to small animals. We've got some reptiles in here. I see some bunnies. I see all kinds of really also fun animals to play with. But what I really want to do is touch on the SAE component. And I know you guys have a whole conversation you want to have about that. So I'm going to pass the mic to whoever wants to grab it and tell us about it.
So like I said earlier, SAE is the work experience that our students get outside of the classroom. So our requirement here at the school is 200 hours that they have to get within 1 year. So it starts from June and it goes all the way to the following June. So most of the students get the bulk of their hours actually over the summer. But then they get additional hours as the school year goes on. And like I said, these hours are for them to really get that hands-on experience that we can't necessarily offer here in our facility.
Sure.
And that's what's really unique about ag education. Ag ed is one of the only ones that has this kind of work experience program. And most of our students start their own little businesses of entrepreneurships, and whether it's vegetable gardening and selling the vegetables, raising chickens, doing a lot of different activities like that. Some of our students also do go out and get jobs as well and get what's called a placement SAE. And the cool thing is that it's training our students to have that real world work experience and actually benefiting the community as a whole too, because now they're becoming a contributor to the local economy by running a business, buying supplies at local supply shops. And so it's a really cool way of helping the students learn as well as helping the community as a whole.
And I know, Keith, you wanted to touch on the whole education process as as a whole.
Yep. So agricultural education runs on a 3-circle model. So class and lab being one of those circles, which we're kind of touching upon as we go on the tour. SAE is one of the other circles. And then the other circle is FFA. So you probably heard this term FFA here, there, and everywhere. It used to stand for Future Farmers of America, but it's such a more broad area now that it's kind of lost its acronym. So it's just FFA now. I wish they made it like Future for Agriculture or something, but because it's hard to explain just because they lost the acronym. But just because we're not all future farmers anymore, we're future conservationists and florists, and there's just so much more to it. And ag has evolved so much. Where back in the day, over 75% of Americans were engaged in production agriculture. Now it's less than 2% engaged in that real production agriculture aspect. So we've had to shift, just like the agriculture industry in general has had to shift. So with that FFA piece, we're developing student leaders essentially. So all of our students sit on FFAs where they work to host and plan events, whether that's visiting a nursing home to teach the seniors how to do floral designs, or they're visiting the elementary school. We had students go today to James Morris, and they brought a little petting zoo. They brought some of the sheep and the goats for the little kids to have during their little field day. So it's, we're a community service organization. We're always looking to be out in the community, give back to the community, and we teach the kids to do the same. And then the other piece of FFA, alongside the committees and all of the events and things, there's a competition piece to it. So we run about 26 career development event teams a year. The 7 teachers do. For anywhere from tractor driving to ag mechanics to food science to veterinary science to farm business management, public speaking competitions.
Parliamentary procedure.
Yes.
Parliamentary procedure.
Yep.
We use it in our board meetings.
Yep. And our Parley team got second in states this year, so next year is their year. So it's just that whole leadership piece that goes with the employment skills of the SAE, and then what we teach them in class, and really it develops this really well-rounded student ready to go out into the world.
And the cool thing about the class that I think a lot of people sometimes overlook is when they hear class, they think a traditional classroom. And when we're in ag, as we've seen on our tour, classrooms aren't necessarily traditional. There are a lot of lab spaces, and they can be everything from the animal lab we're in to the food science lab to even just a field out in the back. Our natural resource class goes down to White Memorial, which is, we're fortunate enough to have that right in our backyard all the time, and they'll conduct class in the woods in White Memorial or over at Bantam River. So class can be really anywhere, and it's not necessarily just the 4 walls that people traditionally think of a class.
Yeah. I think that's such a great thing to explain to people, right? Because this literally is anything like beyond the classroom, right? We take this program and we take it outside, and we have these giant labs, and this is non-traditional here, and it's creative, and there's a lot of opportunity, and it's just so great. And I wish everybody, and I love the fact that we do have our middle school actually has an ag program too, so we're going to talk to them in the future, but we have a track for our kids to start getting excited about this from a really early age, 6th grade, and we talk about it in our elementary schools, right? My little guy went to Goshen Center, and he's got a lot of friends whose parents own farms, and they work on farms and all that stuff. And so they start talking about this stuff from the time they're little kids. And I think it's fascinating that they can have the opportunity to dip their toes in if they want, and fully immerse if they want.
We just had some first and second graders from Goshen, and I think first and second graders from Warren.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the grades are wrong, but they just came for a field
Yeah.
trip and got
Yeah.
to learn a little bit about ag. So
That's amazing.
it was awesome. Yeah.
Keep it up.
So this is our small animal lab, which is primarily utilized by the veterinary science students. So in here, you'll see a whole bunch of different critters, some reptiles, ferrets, chinchilla, rabbits, guinea pigs. We've got a mouse over there. That was a rehome that I was like, sure, we can have a mouse. So we also run a dog daycare through this lab for staff members. Rupert wants to be fed. So we also run a dog daycare for staff members. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have anywhere from like 6 to 8 dogs owned by our staff members here for students to utilize. It's a really good and valuable resource. They're all very well trained. They're all very well behaved. They come to school, right? They're like the dogs you can bring to school.
Yes.
And our students can practice handling, reading behavior. We were just learning physical exams and how to, perform a physical exam on the dogs like a veterinarian would. Behind me or behind Emer there, you see the grooming tubs. We also have a canine grooming and kennel management class where students learn all about canine grooming and how to manage a canine type business. So really it's everything small animal.
And that canine class is an elective, so
Mhm.
it is open to all students, not just ag students. So we have a lot of kids,
Yeah.
non-ag students taking that class, and they love it, and it
Yeah.
gets them working
Yeah.
with live animals,
Yeah.
which is a unique experience that they don't get in many other classes.
Yeah.
And maybe helping at home with their own animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, Arch?
That's my teaching partner.
Off we go. Ready? Okay, so next up is our natural resources lab. And I've just been getting a little bit of behind the scenes conversation with Casey and Tom here about what these kids do during the day. So I'm going to let you guys explain it in more depth because I am a city girl and I have no idea what this means. So
The cool thing about natural resources, they don't necessarily have your traditional lab like a lot of our other spaces do inside the classroom. They're outside all the time. Even in the middle of winter, they still go outside. An old natural resource saying used to be, "There's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing." So they go out all the time. They're the group that primarily deals with our bees, so they have the beehives. They tap the maple trees. So when you drive by on the main road, you might see February, March, you might see our sap house that's pumping all the sap down from the maple stand that we have there. Like I said, they get to utilize White Memorial all the time, which we're so fortunate to have in our backyard and utilize that space. When you think natural resources and ag in particular, you think of what are the resources we're getting from nature. So, that could even be anything, like I said, the food products we get as well as the wood products. So one of the units that they do is a whole forest to furniture unit where they're learning about growing marketable timber stands that can then be harvested sustainably and then turned into usable products. So we have a sawmill that the students get to learn how to operate and use and process a lot of the wood. Our students all learn how to tree climb and do chainsaw operation. So you'll see the hard hats. That's the safety for chainsaw. So they get to do a little bit of everything. Wildlife management and learn about wildlife tracking. They have a couple on campus here. They have a couple of wildlife cameras that they go collect and see all the footage of the different animals that we have right here on campus, which is pretty cool to learn, including the bobcat.
That's awesome. Next place?
Plant science.
Great. Plant science is up next. Okay. Final stop on our tour of the Ag Science Wing at WAMOGO Lakeview High School is the plant science greenhouse, which look at these gorgeous plants behind me, you guys. I'm going to let Tom, the horticulture expert, talk about this.
So, like we said, we're in the greenhouse. We actually just had our spring plant sale during Mother's Day weekend. So we're actually a little bit on the empty side compared to if you were here in the beginning of May. It was booming. Both greenhouses were booming. So our students learn all aspects of plant production. They learn how to start from seed, propagation, transplanting, management, care, fertilizing. So they learn all of those components. Like I said, we ran our wholesale that the students were pretty much in charge of from figuring out how far out do you need to plant these plants so they're ready for Mother's Day weekend. Because it's not like, oh, sale's coming up next week, let's just start planting plants. You have to start and plan this out like months in advance and order your seed and your plugs. In the winter, we do our whole winter plant sale, where that is poinsettias. The students start those right from the start of school. They come right at the end of August, our poinsettia plugs, and then they're growing them up all fall till December. And we also do wreath production. Wreath production isn't necessarily just a plant science thing. It's our whole department. We kind of, for a week before the plant sale, we shut down all of our classes, and all of our classes are making wreaths. So all the wreaths that you buy here are, all the wreaths that are bought here are all handmade by our students, all hand twisted, and the kids learn a lot about that and have a lot of fun. Our plant class also goes out and manages and maintains some of the grounds as well. They planted right when you come up by the sign where the fork in the road, they put the plants there and mulched that out. So it's a really cool class. I know right now they're also doing some landscape design work and learning a little bit about that. So they get to touch on all the different areas of plants.
What's cool about the plant science area too is they operate a CSA for community supported agriculture. So we have a 1/4 acre plot out back where we grow food. So the kids are learning how to grow food for the plant or the food science classes to use that farm to table aspect. But we also run a CSA because things are going over this summer. We don't necessarily have classes to utilize it as food scientists would. So we have community members that will buy shares in our CSA program and have weekly pickups of whatever veggies were harvested that week. Yeah.
I love a good CSA. Okay, so before we go, I have to ask, what's for lunch? So this is a segment where I want to know, because I'm a mom and I love to cook and all the things, and I like to feed people, what was your favorite lunch in high school?
When I was in high school, I always went with the chicken nuggets with the dipping sauce.
Excellent. Can't go wrong with that chicken nugget. Okay, Casey?
I really loved the French toast sticks in high school. That was my favorite.
Brunch for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Brunch for lunch, everybody. Awesome. Casey, Tom, thank you guys so much for being here and teaching us about the Ag Science program, about FFA, about the CSA, about all the stuffs, the SAE, all the things that we have to do. Yes, all of them. I feel like I'm in a fraternity right now. And I'm not. All the wonderful things that we have here at WAMOGO Agri-Science at Lakeview High School. I cannot thank you enough for you guys giving me your time, giving the community your time, and educating the community on all the great things that we do. Don't forget, homework assignment, everybody out there watching, like, share, and send us your questions in our DMs on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube at Region 20 Bobcast. See you next time.